What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown, where we got the latest free agency news and rumors coming your way on today's show. We're going to look at a bit of a tracker and see who the Broncos have signed so far, as they made some moves late last night, so we'll get those names in the show. And then we'll look at a couple free agents still on the market that Denver, I think, should be looking at. Maybe is, so we'll see the grumblings from there. And then we're going to wrap up the show with a very interesting Russell Wilson trade story, so make sure you stay tuned for that. It was a very interesting piece from Albert Breer at SI on how the trade ultimately went down. First, here are the recent signings from the Broncos so far in free agency. The biggest names to start. Randy Gregory, right? 5-year, $70 million contract, by far the biggest contract so far. DJ Jones follows it up with a 3-year, $30 million contract. Denver brings Josey Jewell back on a friendly 2-year, $11 million contract. Eric Tomlinson is a blocking tight end that comes over from Baltimore. And then they help out of the interior offensive line, signing Braden from the Green Bay Packers. They bring back Andrew Beck for that fullback position. And then Calvin Anderson. I think he's going to be used more of a swing tackle. I'll tell you what, if Anderson is the plan to start at right tackle, I'm a little nervous because he got beat out for the job last year by Bobby Massey, and I don't know what they expect him to dramatically improve on to make him the right tackle for not just any quarterback, but Russell Wilson, who we know left Seattle a little bit because he kept getting sacked. So hopefully that's not the plan, but we'll look at some free agents still out there on the market for the Broncos. But first, have you liked the moves that GM George Paton has made so far? The guy's basically, his statue's halfway done, I think, outside the stadium. Once they win the Super Bowl, it's all the way done. So if you like the move so far, go ahead, hit that thumbs up icon to start today's show early on and like the video. Some notes here for free agency after a couple signings that have been made. This is a fluid number, but the Broncos currently have roughly $13.3 million in cap space. Now, that's going to be changing as the days go on and signings come in. And if a Russell Wilson major extension happens, that number is going to change as well. But there's still some good free agents out there that the Broncos may be looking at, although I think a good amount of their money dried up when they got Randy Gregory and DJ Jones and Josey Jewell. Now, they still have $13.3 million, so they can make a couple signings here and there, but I wouldn't expect a blockbuster signing by any stretch of the imagination. But here are 5 names to keep an eye on for. We'll start off with Bryce Callahan and Steven Nelson. 2 corners because Denver's potentially losing Callahan to free agency, so they got to fill that slot corner position. And who better than just bringing Bryce Callahan back? Or Steven Nelson, who's a nice corner that was with Kansas City for a while, then Pittsburgh, and most recently Philadelphia. You compare their numbers from 2021, and Nelson never missed a game, so that's very helpful. You like signing players that aren't going to be injured, and that's unfortunately been Callahan's biggest weakness, right? That's been his Achilles heel. Not his own Achilles, but just that when he's not on the field, you sorely miss him because he's one of the best slot corners, one of those best nickel-dime packages out there. You just haven't had him for a full 16 games, it feels like. What do you think, though? Do you want the Broncos to re-sign Bryce Callahan? Y for yes, N for no. I would love it if I had a crystal ball that told me he's not going to miss a game next season. This is football. It's tough to guarantee that, and you can't guarantee no injuries, so that's where I'm a bit hesitant on it. Let me know what you think down below. Next free agent we'll take a look at here, Leonard Fournette. So there were some grumblings out there that maybe there could be a reunion with Melvin Gordon. Doesn't look like we're heading down that path. So how about playoff Lenny pairing up with Javonte Williams, as this team is ready to win now. Now, last season for Fournette in Tampa Bay, not a good one, right? 14 games and you turn out 367 yards. But I don't think it's a bad idea to let Fournette be the backup for Javonte Williams. And you know what he can do in the playoffs. We saw playoff Lenny. So why build a roster just for the regular season? I don't want to peak in the first 17 games. I want to peak in the last 14 games. You see what I'm saying? So Leonard Fournette could help that case happen. Now, if a signing does happen, we're going to be breaking it down here on the channel. So make sure you are subscribed if you're not already. Hit that big red button. Join the channel. That way, you never miss a piece of breaking Broncos news or rumors when it comes to free agency. We'll look at the other 2 names in just a moment, but I want to tell you guys about our sportsbook partner, BetUS. That's got an awesome deal going on. First, head on over to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code Broncos125. They get you a deposit bonus, but it's March Madness season. And you know what you can bet on in March Madness? Anything. But you could also bet on the first team to be eliminated that is a number 1 seed. Some pretty good odds out there. And also, BetUS has a pretty enticing deal. Perfect bracket, $1 million. That's right. You could retire. Well, probably not anymore. But that's a lot of cheddar. That's a lot of dough. And you can make all that dough at BetUS. So check them out, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Broncos125. On to my 4th free agent target. It is Trent Brown. And then with Trent Brown, another offensive tackle to keep an eye on, Teron Armstead. So the biggest 2 tackles on the market have yet to be signed. And I thought yesterday they could not afford these guys now because a lot of their money has dried up a little bit. And they're still likely pricey, but we've had nearly 3 full days-ish of NFL free agency, so other teams' money is drying up. A lot of other teams have already made their big signings. So the longer this plays out, the less money teams have, the less money they can offer these guys, and the cheaper they become. So right now, no news is good news. If Brown and Armstead slip into tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, you know what? Decent chance their market has gone down, and if they were used to be asking for $12 million, now they're getting $7 million. Broncos can't pay $12 million, they can do $7 million. So hopefully that's the case. I would like to see that happen. If not, I think the right tackle position is going to be either a battle between Calvin Anderson and whoever they draft with the Rams' 2nd or 3rd round pick. That's probably the most likely outcome. Maybe they go for a different, cheaper tackle position, but I don't know. You already signed Calvin Anderson, so you're going to sign someone else who's a little cheaper than the other 2 guys, but more expensive than Anderson. And then you're going to draft a tackle. That's pretty crowded, right? You already have 4 tackles now. I don't see that happening, but you can't put it past GM George Paton because he's made a lot of very smart moves. So if it does happen, I'm not going to criticize him. The guy's a genius from what I've seen so far. I don't want to see Denver repeat Seattle's mistakes, though. We've shown the graphic before, and we'll talk more about Russell Wilson in a second and a fascinating story, but he was sacked a bunch, and it's not all on his offensive line. You know, he holds the ball for a long time. He likes to extend plays, and that's going to come at a price. But I don't want his first year in Denver to be like, oh my God, it's the same thing in Seattle. I'll just keep getting sacked over and over again. Let's have Russell Wilson be upright, be healthy, and not get a bunch of black and blues in year 1. All right, so one more time. Please welcome Russell Wilson to Mile High by spamming his jersey number 3 down below. I always love seeing the number support, the number gang down in the comment section. So if you're pumped to have Russell Wilson as your quarterback, spam his jersey number 3 down in the comment section below. To wrap up the show, I want to share a tiny excerpt? Yeah, that's the word. From a very interesting article that Albert Breer at Sports Illustrated wrote about what it took to get Russell Wilson from the Seattle Seahawks to the Denver Broncos. So before we show you it, just to tee it up a little bit more, we all know the NFL Combine is more than just watching guys run in tights to see how fast they can go 40 yards, okay? NFL GMs love to meet up at bars in Indianapolis and actually do business of, hey, what would it take to trade for this guy? So when the blockbuster news comes out a week later, well, you can expect that it was actually started at the Combine. So here's what Albert Breer wrote about how this trade ultimately went down and what led up to it. About to leave the out-of-the-way Indianapolis bar that served as one of their rendezvous points during a series of secret Combine week meetings and head home for Seattle, Seahawks GM John Schneider handed Broncos GM George Paton his yellow valet tag, number 16157, from the downtown JW Marriott. On the back was scrawled Schneider's final proposal, if he were to agree to deal franchise quarterback Russell Wilson to Denver. And on the back had picks 1, 2, 1, 2, and a list of players. And ultimately, that's the trade we saw go down. John Schneider, on the back of a valet tag, said, I want your 2022 and 2023 first and second, and then a list of players. And maybe there was a little couple negotiations on those players, but seems like we know the whole story there. So if you want to read more from that, I highly suggest it. A great article by Albert Breer. Check it out at Sports Illustrated. good read to see everything that went down and a lot of drama behind Russell Wilson in Seattle. And this was apparently years in the making, or so it seems. So check it out. Make sure you follow me on Twitter if you don't want to miss a single Broncos free agent signing. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We appreciate everyone that's watched this far. And we're going to catch up with you guys later with the latest Broncos news and rumors.